Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 23. Coming up, we meet Moroboshi Dan and the Ultra Guard. We have a second go at a plant pretending to be a man. And also, I've literally forgotten what the third episode is. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
7.
I'm not harmonizing. I'm also joined by Razan.
Hi, I'm Razan. I'm still waiting for the other 6 guys to show up. Any episode now. It's gonna happen.
Any episode now. Yeah.
I'm offended that Razan didn't harmonize it.
I ain't gonna do that shit either.
Okay, you'll do Pigmon voice.
Listen, when I do a Pigmon voice, it's in memoriam.
Oh, it's out of respect, is it?
Yes.
I see. First things first, quick introduction. This is a podcast about watching the Ultra series in whatever order we feel like. We're generally doing release order, but we started with Shin Ultraman because it was funny, and in case you weren't paying attention, we released a little episode on the brand new Ultraman Blazer, which is really easy to watch. If you can cope with YouTube compression, it's on the official Ultraman channel, with subs in like 10 different languages and also an English dub, if that's your thing. But that's for our other show. That's skipping the queue. We don't do that here. This is the queue. We watched Ultra Q, had a blast, amazing show. We watched Ultraman, little mixed. Some flashes of brilliance in there. They give us hope for the future. And now today, we're starting Ultraseven. We would normally do a little, check in with the homies, a little show and tell what we've been up to this week, warm up. But we're limiting that this week to one subject. We are Gundam people. It's how we know each other. So we would be, it would be remiss not to talk about Witch from Mercury, which wrapped up a week ago when we're recording this. However, because that's going to be spoiler heavy and anyone new might want to jump straight into Ultraseven, we'll be putting the Gundam talk at the end of this episode. So look forward to that. Now, Ultraseven. New show.
Yeah.
Just before we get into any production, just quick check. Vibe check. How we feel.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
I'm going to put the thumb back down, though, because it might get cut off. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The blades flying everywhere in these episodes.
Looking pretty good.
There's blood spurting out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was very excited watching these episodes.
It was pretty cool.
Now, before we get into Ultraseven proper, I do want to take care of unfinished business from last week.
Uh-oh.
Because I forgot the color timers for our final Ultraman episode because we recorded for 3.5 hours.
What were the color timers?
Okay. Episode 37, which was the Pigmon Dies Again episode. Spoilers for Ultraman, by the way, sorry.
Yeah, if you skipped Ultraman,
this is your punishment.
Go watch the Jisoji episodes, except the Pole one.
3 minutes 57 seconds. Episode 38, which was like the rescue mission, 2 minutes 48 seconds. Episode 39, the finale. I don't know how to break this up because I feel like there's 3 potential options, so I'm going to list all of them.
Yes.
The first one, how long until he beefs it? 2 minutes, 37 seconds.
Yeah, Ultraman dies. Spoilers.
Spoilers. It gets better. The time for when he and Hayata become separate again, 7 minutes, 10 seconds.
Jesus.
The time to which Ultraman just is no longer on screen, i.e. at the end of the episode, 8 minutes, 59 seconds.
Damn.
So yeah.
That's wild.
That is the color timers.
That's like a third of the episode.
Yeah. Not unlike a Blazer, I guess, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that out of the way, Ultraseven.
Yeah.
What's up with
It's
Ultraseven?
time. All right, so today is the day we find out 7 guys are not. But first, let's go into production history. So, to recap us up on previous histories, Ultra Q was a show created by Tsuburaya Productions, led by Eiji Tsuburaya, guy who was a special effects wizard behind Godzilla and several other Toho kaiju monsters. Ultra Q was a cool kaiju show that was in development for like 3 years before it came on air. Then they made a follow-up show, Ultraman, while Ultra Q was still airing, and it was a lot more of an on-fire production. And then, a lot of divided opinions on what Ultraman should be, what direction it should go between the writer staff, which is where you get such varied takes of the show between its different episodes and different directorial writer staff. But because basically every episode was coming in hot, well, first, let's see. So, just some sources I'm going to say first. There's Wikipedia, reputable. The Ultraseven booklet, which came with the Mill Creek release. Using once again the Ultra Blog DX blog post by Twitter user TryBlast28. And another blog, again, some stuff from Ultopia, which does a bunch of stuff. Links in the description for all the blog stuff. Important thing to know, Ultra Q and Ultraman were smashing successes and were contributing to a kaiju and sci-fi boom in Japan. TBS did want more Ultraman episodes, but Tsuburaya Productions wanted a break after Ultraman because just how insane and stressful
straight
episodes were being made and then being put to broadcast in a very short time span after. It was too close. They wanted a break. They wanted take a break, figure out what they wanted to do next. To compensate for this, TBS was like, well, we'll put another show in the gap. So they approached little-known tokusatsu studio, Toei, to make a show called Captain Ultra, which is a superhero space-themed show.
Okay.
It was a limited production. They were only doing 24 episodes.
Now, is this live action or animated?
Yeah, it was live action.
Okay.
And give me a second, because wouldn't luck have it, Toei has uploaded their first episode of Captain Ultra onto their YouTube channel, so you can have a little skim through.
This is what it looks like.
See what it looks like. I'll give you a second.
Okay. This is
Those are mushroom people.
One thing you will notice is that Toei Studios is not Tsuburaya Productions.
Yeah.
The level of special effects is not on the level.
Oh, these suits are dire.
There are some incredibly funny images in this.
I will say, apparently, I didn't watch the episode enough to see, but apparently Captain Ultra does have a spaceship that splits into 3 spaceships.
Oh.
Put a pin in that.
That's funny.
But yeah, this was basically just a filler series. It is apparently one of the pillars of Toei's 60s output, along with a show called Kamen no Ninja Akakage and Giant Robo. But
I know Giant Robo.
Yeah.
Well, I know the manga, where it's mostly guys in fedoras shooting each other with Tommy guns.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the manga is mostly unnamed spies gunning each other down in messy firefights. It's really good.
And also, I always forget which one. That's the one that also was adapted into, like, that was well known in the West as, that's the fucking Johnny Sacco and his flying robot, right? Was Giant Robo?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I didn't bother checking this.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure Giant Robo got brought over, dubbed to the West as Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. I could be wrong.
I just know it has that OVA that people really like.
Yes, that is Giant Robo. I am looking at it right now. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, Toei, I don't know, maybe they're not cut for this Toku thing. Probably won't be in the business for that long, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I will say, so prior to the Ultra series becoming what it is today, according to the Japanese wiki page for the Ultra series, during this era, TBS sort of considered Captain Ultra the third entry in the Ultra series. It is not today. Just make a note of that.
Yeah,
it's not. But it's interesting just that in this historical era, it was just like lumped in with the others. Now, TBS was like, all right, we need Subaraya again. And they came back with Guan Yu's 3 conditions again.
Fantastic.
They wanted, in color. They wanted another familiar actor to link the shows together, bring someone back.
They picked Arashi?
No, honestly, they're based for that.
Yeah, fair.
I respect it. They also, want a hero to fight the monsters. But they added another 4th condition. Please make this not cost the same bajillion dollars as Ultraman, please. Ultraman costs so much money. Please.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Give me the spoiler right now. Did they fail that last condition?
I actually did not determine this.
The show looks like they failed that last condition.
It does.
It's also worth noting, despite these conditions, TBS didn't actually care whether it was like an Ultra show or an Ultraman sequel, so they were given creative freedom.
Okay.
They're just like, do something cool, bring back Arashi, I guess. Don't burn our bank account.
Honestly, considering the first 2 goes at it were like flyway successes, yeah, like just let them make what they want to make. They're gonna, that makes sense.
Tying back into like Captain Ultra being like considered part of like the third part of the series, all these were also airing as part of something called the Takada Hour Block, which was sponsored by the Takada Pharmaceutical Company. And Takada, as the sponsor, was like, we want... Ultraman was a kit for the kids, but it was definitely like a kids show. Whereas they were kind of thinking maybe this follow-up could be like more of a larger general audience, maybe get some more adults into it. And so, to that end, Eiji Tsuburaya gathered the heroes of the age. Hajime Tsuburaya, Akio Jisoji, Tetsuo Kinjo, Masame Suiyasu, and Shoji Otomo to sort of brainstorm ideas. More on those guys in our Ultraman season. So, Eiji Tsuburaya, after the Westaboo, was like, guys, you know what's really fucking cool? Thunderbirds. And also Lost in Space, which aired in Japan recently at the time.
That's funny.
Also, the original 1966 show Mission Impossible, which I found out existed, and that the movies are based off this.
Oh, you never knew? That's funny.
Hajime Tsuburaya with the funniest input. Let's do an Ultraman sequel, and maybe the sponsors get info on it. Okay, Hajime, I see you. Let's look over the next show. It's called again.
Oh. Man.
It's okay. That's 4 months away.
Do we have Soji's input?
Yeah. He wanted a time travel show with a time patrol, but with also focus on like their families and like the character drama between them.
Let him make his time traveling show.
My heart just broke knowing that we don't have this.
Tetsuo Kinjo, he was sort of like, the space race is happening. He's thinking that there's like a space boom around the corner in this middle of the sci-fi boom. That's all booms going on. I don't know what's what. You know, culture is fluid. He kind of wanted to do something like Ultra Q again, or like kind of like a Twilight Zone anthology.
Honestly, a hero for that.
And Otomo, you know, sci-fi guy. He was also like thinking, no, Lost in Space is cool. He also was thinking the direction of kaiju again. The one thing,
okay, I was going to say this would explain the particular direction that all three kaiju take this time.
Everyone, like universally, including like the audience, including TBS, the one thing they really, really liked from Ultraman was the SSSP, because they were like, oh man, we can have like human characters interacting and having drama between them. I don't know where they got that from Ultraman, to be honest.
Yeah, what?
But like,
we'll be watching the same show.
Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about?
But also, you can see how like building on the SSP you can get there.
Yes, I can see that both from the storyteller's perspective of, oh, okay, this is an avenue for interpersonal drama, but then also from the sponsors, oh, they also have toy ray guns that we can sell.
Yeah. TBS kind of liked AG and Otomo's idea, you know, Lost in Space, but also with kaiju stuff. And so the initial proposal was a show called Ultra Guard about 6 astronauts on the satellite base Mother. Important side note, apparently one of the astronauts was a robot named John. I don't know why this specifically was noted, but it's just really funny to me.
That's good.
And originally it was a show about human drama and fighting alien threats. And TBS really liked the idea, but you know, as they noted, the kaiju boom still, and they did specify, hey, we want a kaiju, we want a guy who fights kaiju. Can you please work that in? We like everything else about this idea, but we got to follow the market trends. And also does, you know, the booklet does note that Tetsuo Kinjo was also thinking, like, he liked the idea, but he's also like, maybe a superhero was like filling a void. Like, he felt like there was something missing, and like a hero character could have helped. And so they thought the name of the new show, Ultra I. Which
nice.
You
Yeah,
may notice,
that's what it is.
As in the, I'm assuming I-E-Y-E, right? Not I, the letter.
Yeah, like I as in E-Y-E.
Okay.
Also, aka the thing Ultraseven uses to transform.
Yeah.
Though also, they're using as like a code name placeholder name again, Redman. Just, you know. And then at this point, they were like, oh man, we got a new protagonist, Dan Muraboshi, who becomes an alien to fight the invaders. And they were like, the show's going to be more mature in tone. And so to that end, they were like, okay, no more kaiju who are just animals that escape from the zoo and just get shot for no reason. All the antagonists, all the kaiju are just going to be like intelligent aliens with like motives and like characterization. And they're also thinking we don't want to be like tonally inconsistent, so maybe tone down the comedy. Sorry, Kyoji Soji. We don't want the spoon in this show.
Damn.
I want
criminal.
They didn't say that. They didn't call it the spoon specifically, but you know, that is the first thing I come to. Even though I'd argue that that's like the good version of comedy compared to maybe some not as good versions in
Yes.
the show. Maybe in contrast to Takeda's wishes, TBS was actually thinking of a more family-friendly show. But then they saw what they were like, the pitch was, and they were looking at the ideas and like, all right, hold on. Maybe these guys are cooking. Let them cook. And they also noted, like, one thing they noticed is that, like, this new hero didn't have to be big all the time. He didn't have to fight in big ball sets. And that was something that was seen as, like, reducing the costs. And they also liked how Super Raya, very liberally being influenced by, like, Western shows, was giving out, like, a competitive edge just by being different and standing out compared to, like, other Japanese shows. And basically at this point, they're, like, kind of formulating something that was like Ultraman, but different. You still have the defense team and the hero, and you're still fighting kaiju and aliens. The fact that he could fight big or small was a distinguishing point. Also a point, unlike Hayata, who was like a host to some weird alien guy, Dan is the weird alien guy. He could just transform into like a more human form as a disguise.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Okay. So you have different ideas.
I can't wait to hear what you thought the Moroboshi Dan's backstory was.
The show was also not intended to be a true sequel to the other series, and so they planned it as a standalone thing. Just fresh start, new continuity. On that note, originally, so we'll get into it, but this Ultraseven guy, he's got some friends.
Some monsters in his pocket, one could say.
Yeah, some monsters.
Wait. Does he have 7 friends?
Wait, fuck.
I'm not going to answer that. But
okay.
What I am going to answer, originally, they were thinking of using the returning guys for the capsule. And this would have included Red King,
Yo!
Pegula,
Man.
Yo!
Antelar,
Okay.
Pagos,
Sure.
and Gamora.
Yo!
Eventually, AG decided that like it'd make more sense, keep the continuity separate, and also merchandise-wise, you could just make new guys. So that's what they did. I will point out that it is interesting. The show did have some as Razan alluded to, some monsters in Dan's pocket. Some might say you can make a JRPG concept out of this. Maybe.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei.
Satoshi Tajiri himself saying, okay, yeah, I really liked Ultraseven.
So the Pokeball thing is straight up just from here.
Yes.
Okay.
Pokemon is
that's
directly
awesome.
inspired by Ultraseven.
That's fantastic.
I will also take this time to note, if you remember Gen 8, hey, how many turns does Diamond Axe last?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Also, fucking Kirby copy ability just showing up in
Yeah. Kirby's cutter hat also absolutely. Based on just aside, the boomerang is called the Eye Slugger. I don't know why. That's just what it's called.
The Eye Slugger?
Eye Slugger?
Yeah.
First of all, that ain't slugging thing. That's chopping
Yeah,
motherfuckers.
just
Second of all, it's on his head, not his eyes.
It's just as a note, if you're gonna see a boomerang in Ultraman, it'll probably be called a slugger from now on. Just how it rolls. Same reason why belts and Kamen Rider are called drivers for some reason.
Okay.
Also, they were like, okay, Red Band's a placeholder. We're not calling it that. We're not vibing with Ultra Eye. We need a new name. And they were like, no, hang on a second. Dan is the newest member of the Ultra Guard, a team which has 6 guys, which means that Dan is the 7th guy. So what if we called it Ultraseven.
You know, I'm taking that as being half right.
I count 5 guys in the Ultra Guard. I count the captain, I count Soga, the marksman, Furuhashi, Amagi, and Anne. That's 1, 2,
That's
3,
5, and then
4,
Dan
5.
is 6.
Oh, wait, let me see. You got the captain. Soga, Furuhashi. Oh, captain.
Are they counting Dan and Ultraseven as 2 separate people in this?
You know what? They might be. I'm actually not sure.
Are they counting Ishiguro? Is he a cast member now?
No.
Okay.
But yeah. In a twist of fate, Ultraseven guys in the end anyway. So yeah. Since this show was Ultraman but different, Toru Narita, the designer of Ultraman and also the Kaiju, was like, okay, we're gonna do a different take on Ultraman, which is why Ultraseven looks so different. He's more red. He's got weirder eyes, that's for sure. He got the eye slugger on the top of his head. No color timer. Toru Narita just being clapping. Yeah,
he got his wish.
He got his wish. No color timer. Sorry, guys. Worth noting, production was smoother for Ultraseven. They were more experienced. They were given time. It was just smooth sailing.
Now, what year? Because Ultraman was 66, was it?
Ultraseven is 67.
Okay, and then Ultra Q was 60.
Also 66.
Okay, I just wanted to
I'm
put that in
gonna
perspective.
just gonna point out right now. Super Eye is celebrating the 55th anniversary of Ultraseven this year.
Damn.
And they're being gung ho about it. There's a lot of celebratory stuff about it. They're even doing a short movie that's hey, we're trying to make a new episode from back in the day kind of thing with CG. So
that's kind of fun.
They're going all out. We'll probably cover it at some point. I don't know when. We'll figure it out.
They're making the episode where Ide turns.
Ide's not in the show, sorry.
Oh, you mean for Ultraseven? Oh, sorry. I meant... Okay. I was
mixed
up. I'm stupid. Don't mind me.
It's 55th anniversary of Ultraseven specifically.
I see.
We'll talk about that when I get to the end point of production history. One thing I will note, there are some production issues where there are certain unmade episodes, including one episode where they just were further along and they just stopped making it. They had other ideas left on the cutting room floor. Because we are just starting this show, I won't talk about them for now, but I do think it's interesting stuff, so I do want to talk about it in the future. I don't know when, but...
Okay.
Yeah. Just to know, we're getting to the point where I think what's going to happen is I'm going to end up giving an incomplete, on purpose, production help history at the start of certain episodes, at the start of our certain seasons, just so
it's fine. Because otherwise, we get into spoiler stuff and...
Yeah, we're getting spoiler stuff. There's also going to be stuff where things are retroactively changed and retcon as they figure out the Ultra series more. And some of that stuff is just in the Steelbook books. So I'd say be careful. Maybe don't read. The episode guides are fine, but outside of that part, maybe don't read them if you don't.
That's all I read anyhow.
Yeah. So don't look at the part where there's the blurb at the start. Don't read the back of the box of the Blu-ray. To be frank, even. So just keep that in mind going forward. Because those are written from the point of this is what the show is established as now in the current understanding of the franchise, and not as they were at the time. So just a warning to you two. The audience can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm not shielding you from spoilers too.
Also, I have a question, because you alluded to this when they're talking about the fact that they decided to not make the monsters in the little whatever thing. I don't know if those have a proper name that we've been introduced to yet. His little Pokeball monsters. The fact that they chose... Monsters. Sorry, what was that?
Capsule monsters. Just, that's the terminology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the fact that the capsule monsters are not... They made a conscious effort to make sure they weren't returning monsters, which, as sad as that makes me, I do actually think is probably the better decision. is that them trying to make like a clean cut in terms of like, because Ultra Q to Ultraman, we talked early on like, oh, are these connected? And then very clearly it was like, oh yes, the answer is yes. Like this world knows what a Ragon is. Is this a fresh start, or is this are we supposed to be going into this thinking about Ultra Q and Ultraman stuff in that way?
I think at the time, the intention is this is a fresh start. This is new continuity, new show.
Okay.
Just unrelated. It's like it's obviously in the same series. It's obviously like a successor.
Yes.
But like it's just like it's a different thing.
The SSSP is not being brought up.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah,
it's war crimes denial. It's like Ichino Tani got out of prison and swept all that shit under the rug. All that history's gone.
They did the Mamoru Oshii, like Jinro Stray Dog Red Spectacles thing where they disbanded it and then recreated it but just called it something different.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
Arashi has a new identity to hide his crimes.
He shot.
This is my headcanon now.
He shot. Arashi's crimes. Did you shoot? You shoot.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing on. So, like Ultraman, this was given 39 episodes in 13 episode blocks. Funny enough, Captain Ultra was having production issues and so was lagging behind on schedule. And meanwhile, the first 13 episodes of Ultraseven were done early. And then the first episodes were smashing successes with ratings rivaling Ultraman at its peak. And like, context. Kids were not as invested in the show as much as Ultraman, but like adults were really liking the show. And I felt like, oh man, this is the first time like we as adults feel like there's a sci-fi show, at least maybe like a Japanese sci-fi show that's like not pandering to kids and maybe is like appealing to us and like, speaking to things that like we care about. And maybe, there's now, it helps like there's less stigma to watching Ultraseven as an adult than like watching other sci-fi shows of the era.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, knowing that like the audience had shifted to like a more mature audience, the writers then felt like, okay, we can, as the show is like progressing along and more episodes are made, they're like, okay, we can be bolder a bit. We can make more mature themes, more serious episodes later on. And also the show was such a success that they were like, okay, TBS is like, okay, you can have 10 more episodes. And Tsuburaya was like, okay, we'll do it. And that's why the show's 49 episodes. This is the part where things get depressing. It's not spoilers, so I can talk about this on like the unmade episodes. Through no fault of Tsuburaya or the Ultraseven team, the sci-fi boom is starting to wind down. Trends, come and go. And, putting aside the quality stuff about Captain Ultra, but sort of like its low ratings were kind of like a canary in the coal mine of like, okay, maybe sci-fi is not grabbing audiences as it once was. And like TBS was like, okay, but Tsuburaya has like the Tsuburaya magic with the CSL effects that Captain Ultra does, so maybe that'd help. And it definitely did at the start. But by the second half of the show, Ultraseven popularity was declining ridiculously a lot. There was a strong adult fan base that was buying the merch but wasn't enough, and like general audiences and especially the kids were like not interested. Toys were not selling. At this point, it's basically becoming like a cult classic. And even so, when the show's finale aired, a lot of people turned out to watch it. That's when the ratings spiked up again. But like, the ratings at like the lowest point were about in the same ballpark as Captain Ultra was, which is not great. However, I will.
Oh, I was. Because it's funny, because we've talked about how, like, oh, what's going to be the Ultra thing that starts to, like, maybe does it land or whatever. And the whole time I haven't even been thinking about like, oh, I mean, this exists in a broader culture of like children's shows and like trends come and go, and this is still kind of being the same. I never really thought about that, but I'm curious now. What was like? I wonder what was big at the time that kids were like turning their attention to instead. You know what I mean?
So I'll loop back around to this last point about like Ultraseven's legacy, but like so at this point audiences were ready to move on, I guess, from like what Ultra was putting out.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of Ultraseven, in many ways Super Riot Productions was also doing that. They were proud of the work they did, they really liked the show they put out, but they're also like, "Now we did a good job, but we're ready to move on from this like Ultra Kaiju stuff." And ironically, the things that was coming back into faction was mystery and horror anthologies, not unlike Ultra Q.
That's beautiful.
And this is where first I'm gonna feed Red some serotonin.
Do it.
First off, Eiji Tsuburaya is gonna work on his pet project, the Thunderbirds clone of his dreams, Mighty Jack.
Let's fucking go.
Which he considers his magnum opus.
Of course he does. Look at it.
Has a bit of the sci-fi DNA of Ultraseven, but it's more of an espionage action show. With instead of kaiju and aliens, the villains are all humans. Going for all the Thunderbirds vehicle action miniature stuff. So I do have 45. This was 13 episodes, 45 minutes long, all on 35mm film. Each episode costs 10 million yen.
Let's go. Holy shit. Is that Mighty Jack? How many episodes did you say that was?
13 episodes, 45 minutes.
13?
Unfortunately, it did not do as well rating-wise, because people suck, I guess. So then they made a follow-up, Fight Mighty Jack, which was 26 episodes. Episodes were more back to 22 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started adding more monsters and stuff into it, and it's more comedic. Less the human drama Eiji Tsuburaya liked. Then, meanwhile, and like coming off production-wise after Mighty Jack, and taking Ultraseven's spot in the Takada hour block, and this was listed as the 5th and last show on the Japanese wiki as the quote-unquote TBS Ultra series, even though it doesn't have Ultra's name. There's the show Operation Mystery, which is a 26-episode show about a group called the Science Research Institute that deals with paranormal threats, not kaiju. This isn't really like a Defense Force team, as much as it is like, this seems like Ultra Q, but what if there was a detective agency?
Ooh, that's kind of fun.
Also a note, one of the main characters is Akiji Kobayashi as the actor in it. So Muramatsu's back.
Ooh. Do you know if that's subbed anywhere?
I think I saw one episode subbed. I don't know if there's more.
Okay.
But at least the first episode I think is subbed. But yeah, it's more like paranormal stuff, like I guess ghosts and vampires and shit. It's like more in the Call of Q vein, but like probably more like what Tsuburaya wanted without the kaiju. More subdued special effects and stuff. After this, I think was like they started production on like the show Horror Theater Unbalanced, which we talked about in the past episode when we like listed all the episode names. But for whatever reason, even though that show was starting production in like 1969, it didn't actually air until 1972, where it like finished production. I don't know what's going on there, but just as a note, that's like another thing going on. It seems like that was these are all the last things like Eiji Tsuburaya would be like credited with before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, that was it, I guess, for like Tsuburaya, I guess, himself, the man. But just looping back to Ultraseven, because despite being relegated to cult classic status for a few years, there's a happy ending to this, as noted by Tsuburaya celebrating the 55th anniversary of it in a big way this year. When Return of Ultraman started airing in 1971, they started like airing re-airing Ultra 7 on syndication. And then that's when it started becoming like, because hey, Ultraman's in season again. And that's when it started like becoming really, really popular and growing past its cult status to become like a genuine hit in its own right, belatedly. And now like Ultra 7, the character is like an icon in his own right, and Ultra 7 the show is seen as a classic and like a beloved entry in the franchise. And you can see this by the fact that, in the 1900s and 2000s, they created a series of sequel direct-to-video specials called Heisei Ultra 7. In the mid-aughts, there was a show called Ultra 7X, which is like a reimagining of the show for a more mature audience. One of the main major characters that defines the modern era of Ultraman is in part defined because of his connection to Ultra 7. We'll get to that in a few years. I won't expound on it, though.
I feel like a long time ago I had someone explain to me that, like, when a new Ultraman show, like, debuts, it's either like, oh, this is taking more from Ultraman, or, oh, this is taking more from Ultra 7. Like, is that accurate? Like, is this one of the two, like, big pillars of, like, everything that'll come after is kind of leaning on one of these sort of thing? Or do I have a wrong idea?
I'm not sure, and part of that is probably has to do with the fact that I have only seen 3 episodes of Ultra 7, so I can't judge that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It might be a case where just like after Return of Ultraman starts and like that 4-year block where there's just nonstop Ultraman on air again, they might just redefine what Ultraman is while also taking elements from both Ultraman and Ultra 7 while doing something different, and that's kind of like what defines Ultraman for a generation. So I guess we'll see. That is partly what this podcast is about, after all.
True.
But just know, Ultra 7 and Dan Muraboshi are beloved guys. And, Ultra 7 did get its, like, big break, not when it's airing, but, pretty close to when it was new, And hey, if you're a 5-year-old and watching Ultra 7 when you're 10 maybe, and he's like, oh shit, actually this show slaps. And now, I'll just, touch on the actors we got. First off, in a debut role, we have Koji Moritsuki as our protagonist, Dan Muraboshi. We have Yuriko Hishimi, again a debut, as Anne Yuri. Another debut, Shinisuke Achihara, is Soga. No other name given.
Oh, is he just so he doesn't just Soga? Just Soga.
Yeah, apparently just
okay.
Soga. Next we have Soji Nakayama. In Ultraman, he was
our good friend Arashi.
No.
Oh, what?
Soji Nakayama in Ultraman, he played Dr. Nanomiya in Ultraman 31. Who goes there? He was the scientist who got attacked by the plant in the suit.
No.
But in this show, he's the captain, Kaoru Kuriyama.
Okay.
Redemption arc. Now, here's the important one. Sendaya Dokumamushi. He was Arashi. He was Daisuke Arashi in Ultraman. Here, he's Shigeru Furuhashi.
Same person. Name change for legal reasons.
New identity.
Headcanon.
Escaping the tribunal.
Here's a fun one. Bin Furuya. In this show, in Ultra 7, he plays Amagi. But in Ultraman, he played Ultraman.
Oh,
he was the guy in the suit.
Oh my god, that's cool.
So here he's just being a regular actor. But just know, he was the guy doing all the the fight scenes in Ultraman.
Is he also doing the fight scene stuff here, or is that a different person?
No.
Okay.
The Ultra 7 suit actor is Koji Uenishi. I think I saw something that he's shorter than Ben Furuya is, so the Ultra 7 suit is actually a bit shorter than Ultraman, but yeah. Weird aside, I don't know what this is about, but apparently in episode 14 and 15 of Ultra 7 specifically, the suit actor is a guy called Eiichi Kikuchi. Eiichi Kikuchi. Don't know what's that about, but just for those 2 episodes, they got a different guy to do the suit. we'll see what that's about, I guess.
Someone went skiing.
And finally, I'd be remiss not to mention, not a major character, not a member of the Ultra Guard, but there is a guy who's shown up a couple times who's in a supporting role named Takanaka, played by a certain Kenji Sahara, who in Ultra Q played Junman Jobe.
Yeah!
I did see him. I was like, I saw him in the background, and I was like, oh my god, that's my guy!
And yeah.
And he stuck around. It was cool.
Yeah. At some point, we're going to loop back to... I'd like to loop back to the unmade episodes. I don't know when we're going to fit them in.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a case like circumstances, like some episodes might have like connections to unmade episodes. Others, we might just have to like look at a list of the ideas in our final episode. Better safe than sorry.
Would this be a good time? This is the show that has the banned episode that's not on the like official. Like you have to go out of your way to find that, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I would have mentioned it like next week anyway.
Okay.
But episode 12 of Ultraseven is banned. Subaraya explicitly is like, we're not showing this to anyone anymore. And we'll get into it in a couple weeks when we actually cover that episode, but we are going to cover episode 12 just because it was an episode that aired. It did air in reruns for a bit before eventually being banned. So, it is part of the show's history. It's something worth talking about because it's a thing they made, and, it's worth, like, saying, watching the episode, like, seeing it, and, like, considering it on its own merits while also discussing, okay, why was it banned? Was there a good reason for it? Probably. But we'll see. I won't make we'll say that for a couple weeks from now. But just know, episode 12, if you're using the Blu-ray disc, which of course you are, you're absolutely using the Blu-ray discs, just like Red is.
Hey, shut up! Snitch! Fucking
what are you
Martin.
saying? I said... I said you had the Blu-ray disc. I'm just speaking honestly. But yeah, if you're using the Mill Creek Blu-ray disc, episode 12 is not on there. They just go from 11 to 13, and so you will have to find episode 12 somewhere. It might not be as good quality because that's just how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, we are covering it in a couple weeks. And
Yeah, banned episodes don't get loving HD upscales.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for the production of Ultraseven. It is not as bad as Ultraman's production history, to be honest, but there'll probably be interesting stuff as we like learn more about the show and go further along. I definitely am interested in like the unmade episodes and stuff. I know that like the one TV special called the Ultraseven I loved, which is not subbed, but hopefully we can get subbed. Wink, wink. Anyone who wants to do that, go ahead. I think they talk about some of the unmade episode drama, but yeah.
All right.
Thumbs up. Let's get into the episode.
Let me say. So, episode 1 of Ultraseven is called The Invisible Challenger. Now, I used to do very detailed summaries. I stopped doing that. After the Ultraman finale, where I realized we actually talked more about the episode when we had the shitty wiki summary, instead of it just being me kind of giving my perspective on the episode and then all of us kind of going, yeah, it was pretty good. So I am going to keep summaries brief this time.
Honestly, you deserve to give yourself less work.
So there will be details that are missing. That is fine. It is broad. That is the
if we
idea.
didn't remember them, that's our fault.
So, Ultraseven Episode 1, The Invisible Challenger. The Terrestrial Defense Force has called in the Ultra Guard, an elite team, to investigate mysterious disappearances, which are suspected to be the work of aliens. We are introduced to the Ultra Guard, Kiriyama, the captain, Soga, the marksman, Furuhashi, the muscle, Amagi, the strategist, and Anne, the doctor / woman. She's the woman.
Okay, I just want to say real quick, they do give her more as a person and character
Yes.
than Fuji.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I did also roll my eyes seeing, oh, she's the girl, so she's the medic, but also...
I mean, yes, you are correct. Also, they
Designated
do like
healer.
they what happens is they introduce, I've already interrupted my summary. They introduce all of them by going like, oh, name, age, and they say Anne, blah blah blah, age. Oh, oops, I wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah, sure. Also fun, they also clearly point out they're all from different regions of Japan. Which is fun to do.
Yes. In the course of investigation, Soga and Furuhashi come across an odd and playful stranger who calls himself Moroboshi Dan, who seems to know more about the alien threat than anyone else at the Defense Force. He claims the aliens have been kidnapping specimens for years, but the response from the Ultra Guard has forced their hand. Now the aliens are moving up to possibly invasion. After Dan rescues the 2 Ultra Guard agents from an alien attack, he returns them to their base, where the guard receives a call from Alien Cool. Alien Cool threatens the kidnapped hostages, but the Terrestrial Defense Force leaders refuse to surrender the Earth. Just like that kid one time with Mephiles. Anne has clearly caught on to what this show's deal is, and asks Dan to help defeat the aliens. He suggests spraying the aliens' invisible spaceship with paint. Launching.
Why didn't Ide think of that?
Why didn't Ide think of that? Launching in the Ultrahawk 1, which is an aircraft that splits into 3. The Ultra Guard successfully used Dan's plan to reveal Cool's spaceship, but are shot down, knocking everyone unconscious and leaving it up to Dan to save the day. He first reveals he's a Pokemon trainer by sending out Kaiju to fight for him. But he eventually transforms into our new hero, Ultraseven. He slays Alien Cool, cutting its head off, frees the hostages.
Blood.
Yeah, frees the hostages and destroys the spaceship. Later, back at base, the Ultra Guard are introduced to their newest member, Moroboshi Dan. The end. First episode of Ultraseven, immediately so much more atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's just a much more like you said, the fact that you said in the production notes that they made this show to not be quite such a kids show, immediately very obvious.
Yes, that was my takeaway. Like it all of everything is so much more grounded in a way that Mel, I was kind of smiling a bit when you brought up like this show has a lot of like Western sci-fi TV influence, and you can feel that with just even the SSSP was very toyetic in the way with like they had the lapel radio pins, and that has been turned to like the more traditional style like wristwatch communicator like sci-fi device type thing. But just even like the color, like nobody's running around in bright orange with a motorcycle helmet. Everything
with
it looks
the
a little
fucking tie with the pin.
This looks a lot more like military sci-fi organization uniform. And,
yeah, it's a pale gray blue.
Yes,
yeah.
They're treating it more like a little bit more like, oh, this is just a bit closer to Earth sort of thing, and yeah, it adds a lot to the atmosphere and tone. Definitely feels less like a kid show in a positive way, in my opinion.
It is weird, but also funny to me that they do the bit from the last episode of Ultraman where like the ship goes into a ravine and hides, except this time it actually ambushes them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other, so there's going to be just a lot of comparison with Ultraman. Separating out Arashi into 2 separate guys now who can both get owned is very funny.
Yes.
They need to separate Arashi's shooting id from him, and now he's more normal.
Yeah,
maybe.
This is actually he's in like he's like what you call him, the Schwarzenegger movie, sci-fi movie,
Predator
with the Mars memory loss.
Oh, Total
Recall.
Total Recall. Yeah.
Yeah, they've total recalled Arashi, and so he doesn't remember that he's a marksman too.
It is funny that like they did separate Arashi into two characters, but also sent them in the same car together.
Yes,
They need each other to function, I guess.
I gotta say, the scene where they introduce Dan is so
Yeah,
fucking good.
I was just gonna comment on that. It's like Dan shows up immediately, and it's like, wow, you can. They did know how to write protagonists with a personality.
Okay, also, am I stupid for not realizing? So, okay, so I thought, watching these episodes, that the same Ultraman hybrid combination synthesis thing had happened with this guy. It's just that we don't see it, and he is like a... I thought that, like, the whole thing was that he was more of a wandering drifter dude, maybe with the kind of dubious or mysterious / shady backstory, and that's the reason why he very obviously gives a fake name when they ask him, hey, what's your name? I did not get from just watching the show without like looking into it, like, oh no, this is a facade for this is just an alien.
So I mean, it certainly occurred to me that they're way more like, whether or not it's like this is a body that is a host or not, they're way more, they're playing up the fact that it is the Ultra guy that's kind of in control.
Absolutely.
Of the body, because he's like giving out all this information about the aliens. Oh yeah, the aliens have been a threat for a while, and it's like, okay.
I have a lot to say about that.
You're Ultraseven.
I have a lot to say about that next episode with The Rock because well, I'll leave it for that.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on whether or not we'll see if we get like Dan's backstory at all. But because right now he just shows up as a weird guy, a fun guy. I will say I was at first confused when I watched the scene where they say, hey, get out of our way, and they blow smoke at him, and I was just like, was that sleeping gas? Are they gonna run him over? But then I was like, oh no, wait, it was just smoke to try and get him to run away, I guess, because smoke is unpleasant just to get in the face.
Yeah, they're just trying to scare him off, and he is just like he's some kind of like martial arts character. He's like on the roof of the car, just laughing at them. It's good.
The car is called the Pointer.
The car. Okay, so this was in my notes. I was like, the car is called the Pointer. Then that's a good name.
Also,
car.
Red, what's your opinion on Hawk 1? I need your Thunderbird brain thoughts.
Ultra Hawk 1 is cool. I like Ultra Hawk 1. I think it's cooler than the VTOLs.
It's definitely cooler than the VTOL. Yeah.
I think.
Sleeker for sure.
Ultra Hawk 1. Because my first reaction to seeing Ultra Hawk 1 was, okay, this is okay. That's a lot of engines for one plane. And then it split into 3, and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I get it. It's just a good design as well. I think sometimes just a solid like wedge shape. It works. Yeah. I can feel the like, how are people building models of the VTOL? I feel like probably not.
Someone definitely is. They definitely made merch of it.
Yeah, but this is definitely like nice kits.
They definitely.
See, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like the VTOL gets like part of a playset. This is like you go to the hobby shop and this is in like a dedicated corner somewhere, and you need some glue to put this shit together. Like that definitely has that vibe.
I think that am I right to say they're getting better at the Jerry Anderson miniature stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, they're still not there, obviously, because it's not what they're, it's like Toei doing Captain Ultra. It's not, they're not there yet. They don't have it. It's good. It's still good. It still works. And I think the sets, in particular, that they show all the machine, like the Ultra Hawk is like in like a garage or whatever, and like that all looks very good. That's all very well put together.
It felt like there was more of a focus on, and we got this once or twice in Ultraman, but like, and this could just be because we're early on still with this too, but it felt like in this set of episodes there was a lot more care and attention shown to like it taking off, like that sort of thing, the combining, rather than what sometimes I feel like Ultraman at its worst could be. And even to be fair, I feel like this is a sin that I could even think of in like certain aspects of like Rodan or other kaiju stuff I've seen even before this, but sometimes these filmmakers get very excited showing reverse shot of we're shooting a fuck ton of like missiles off of the plane and then like blowing shit up, and get real caught up in like showing the actual action and all that stuff, and to see some of the focus maybe taken away from that, and they're just confident and like, we can keep that brief, but just showing kind of these maneuvering and getting like the actual like flight of it all or whatever, and taking off and all that was kind of cool to see.
Did you like the opening up the mountain?
Yes.
That's when I saw, once again, when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, Tracy Island's here, baby. Let's go. It's Thunderbirds time. That's the fucking, like, I think this will work for you. It's just Shout Factory. It's the Thunderbirds 2 launch. And it's just like, Tracy Island has just a bunch of, because it's all hidden. All the Thunderbirds are hidden away. It's an island that people visit that don't know about the Thunderbirds.
Damn.
So yeah, you've got like the side of the cliff face opening up and Thunderbird 2 rolling out. The pine trees is so good. But yes, they are doing much better in Ultra 7 from what I have seen.
What do you guys think of Wyndham? Seven's little friend.
Is that so? I didn't keep much track of the actual kaiju that he kept throwing out.
I got their names. Don't worry about
it. Okay, cool.
This first one, I was like, yeah, that's okay. I liked the one from the later episode a lot more.
Okay, we'll talk about it when we get there. Yeah. But yeah, there's a robot dinosaur guy.
So Ultra 7 throws this little this slugger and murders Alien Cool.
Calls himself cool. Yet.
And yet is killed. The
shot? What are you saying?
When it's like the neck falls off and it's like you see all the interior like guts and stuff is like, oh damn, okay.
I feel like I don't know if I'm crazy, but I feel like when I saw that I didn't really see the guts and stuff, but maybe I need to
it's like the first one they cut it off and like the neck falls away and you can kind of see like the cutaway view of like the bone and the muscle and stuff.
I think when I described it as a geyser, I think I'm conflating the second episode death with the first episode death, but yeah, it is more subdued in the first one.
This one felt a bit weird to me because it was just like Ultra 7 walks into a dark room and sees the guy and throws it and it just dies very silently and it just kind of sits there for a bit. Just a quick note. This was a puppet. I'm sure as opposed to a suit, this is like a puppet instead, which is interesting. Just got another bit from the Ultopia blog as mentioned that Toru Narita, he liked the idea of designing kaiju for puppets instead of for suits because he felt like he'd get more creative with them.
That's how you get funny little guys.
Yeah, because you don't have to put a person in there. But also, obviously, the caveat is that like puppet kaiju are less conducive to fight scenes, I
mean, he does just kind of float around and heckle Ultra 7 until he gets fucking sliced.
Yeah. The name Alien Cool is pretty funny.
I am Alien Cool. Are you?
Frieza vibes.
Yes.
King Cold.
Also, the refinery blowing up is cool, but that's just, them doing what they do best.
Yeah, it's
fucking
a sequence
Hajime
very
Tsuburaya.
Yeah, it's a sequence very similar to that refinery episode. It's good. It's good.
Hey, spoiler alert! Guess who directed this episode?
Was it Hajime Tsuburaya?
Yes, and written by Tetsuo Kinjo.
Oh, that makes sense. Here's another bit of weird trivia I found. There's apparently the 5th episode in production order.
Huh.
I don't know if I'll be able to find.
It's clearly the first episode, so presumably they start with 4 of
So I actually know the first 2, and the other episodes we covered today.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Episode 2 was second in production order, and episode 3 was first in production order.
Okay.
Interesting.
So this makes sense to me in terms of wanting to make a long-running show that is going to have a weekly format. You don't maybe you want to start getting used to the weekly format and then make your first episode.
Yeah, I often hear sometimes in game dev it's the tutorial level's one of the lighter ones you make.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And also even too, sometimes real life logistics stuff happen where it's you're set to film certain places or do whatever, and you're balancing this with other productions or just even where you can go depending on who owns the place, and there's all that stuff to consider too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I don't want to move us on. But do we have anything more to?
How do we feel about Dan getting? Because at first I thought oh, this is an intro. The way that it's set up at first, I was almost is Dan just gonna be that random lone wanderer who just fucking shows up every episode while the Ultra Guard are oh, Jesus Christ, alien shit's happening, and then right at the end they're just yeah, we found him again, and he's hey, want to join the team? And he's just yeah, sure.
Well, they do need 7 guys in the Ultra Guard.
True, that is true.
Also, it probably just makes it easier to have him as part of the team, so he's there instead of just
Yeah. It did make me wonder if there will be a point where Ultraman and... I'm curious later on. I'm sure it happens eventually. It's gotta happen eventually. If we get an Ultraman who is not the, a part of the actual defense organization, because that could be kind of interesting too. But, yeah.
Yeah. I will say that they were surprisingly trusting of Dan immediately, but I feel that's just kind of the way these shows go.
Yeah,
he's oh, don't go that way, and then someone goes that way and gets blown up, and they're okay, you know what, we'll take this guy seriously.
Yeah, there's an extended sequence where the cops are going that way. He's no, that's a trap, don't go that way, and then they blow up. He's I told him not to go that way. It's so good.
I am absolved of guilt. Wipe my hands of the situation.
Am I remember correctly? He had a denim jacket. He was in jeans,
something like that. He is hanging out. He is not. He is extremely casual. It's good.
Also, as a note, I know Dan's actor because he shows up as a villain in Kamen Rider Blade, which is just really funny.
Nice.
He's an old guy in Blade, but of course, but
Mm-hmm.
But it is funny. That's where I know him from originally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we done with episode 1, we can move on to episode 2. The Green Terror.
Yeah. Science fiction writers be asking important questions what if there was a weird rock, or what if there was a vampire plant? Questions those specific writers have never asked for.
I was we were so fucking back when we got to this one.
Yeah. 2 things have arrived at the home of Ultra Guard agent Ishiguro. The first is a package addressed to Ishiguro himself, and the second is a large metallic rock that the maid finds outside the house on the morning of Ishiguro's return from space. Dan is. I don't think
he's part of the Ultra Guard. I think he's just part of the TDF.
They call him an Ultra Guard agent, though.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I feel like they do.
No, because there's a point where there's specifically a point later on where he says we can't bring this up. It'll bring disgrace to the TDF if they find out one of their members got attacked at home.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're all the Ultra Guard are also part of the TDF.
Yeah. The Ultra Guard is part of the TDF with like a separate elite branch. I think
I will default to TDF then. Two things of blah 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 blah. Dan escorts him home and sees the rock. He scans it with glowy eyes and determines it is made of a material that you cannot find on Earth. Ishiguro, despite his time away from home, locks himself in his office away from his wife and opens his package. It is a second, smaller metallic rock, which he hides in a cabinet.
He's very excited about it.
He's very excited. He then transforms into a plant monster and leaves through the window to terrorize the locals by night. Dan and Anne,
goals.
Dan and Anne find a victim of the attack and take them back to the Ultra Guard Medical Center. Once there, the victim transforms into a plant monster as well, and before Soga can shoot to kill, Anne hits the patient with a stun. Anne does things. We're back. We're so back.
Yes, I was so happy. Specifically, she's like, Dan, pass me that fucking paralyzer gun, and Dan's like, okay, and then she's the one who gets to take the shot. And I was like, yes, good moment,
She's
good moment.
And good. Like a werewolf, the plant monster returns to the office and transforms back into Ishiguro, and in an attempt to distract his wife from his weird behavior, he declares that tomorrow they will pack their things and go on a week's trip away. Once they have left the next day, Dan and Anne return to investigate further, and the Ultra Guard take the big rock back to base to inspect it. With the help of the terrified maid, who has been seeing monsters and dealing with weird rocks, Dan and Anne is going to get fun to say every week.
The ship name is just built in.
It's just Dan. They find the smaller rock in the cabinet. Dan hammers the rock, cracking it open, which in turn cracks open the larger rock back at base. The defense force peer inside and see Ishiguro. On a train with his wife, fake Ishiguro loses control of his human form and transforms into the plant monster. Everyone flees the train, and the Ultra Guard arrive on the scene just as the monster turns into a huge kaiju. It's Dan time. Moroboshi Dan does his SMT shtick and summons a kaiju to fight for him for a bit before calling it back. Then he transforms. Yeah, I think so.
He does. Not in this episode.
Does he not?
I don't think
Am I
so.
just making that up?
I think he invented a kaiju for this episode.
I've invented a kaiju for this.
I think it was episode 3 he summons the second one. I don't think in episode 2.
Episode 3 he
I
summons
think I think after finishing episode 3 I just figured that he does it every week. Maybe he doesn't. Okay. He transforms into Ultraseven. He kills the plant monster. He's got a beam attack that comes out of his head that's yeah, I can see the Anno connections in these Ultraseven sweeping beam attacks. Anyway, Dan saves the day, and the real Ishiguro gets to see his wife. Return of the Wife guy. No more trying to get on that train. The end.
I think it's funny that
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's funny that everyone just instinctively calls him Ultraseven for some reason.
Yes. Anne is just like, Ultraseven, save the day. And I'm like, where did you learn that name?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. I love that we got the plant. Well, first of all, I love we got a plant and rock episode, and that they were also the same episode. Lost my mind. But I love that we got this particular thing this early, because the characters of all 3 of the Ultra series so far can be summed up in their rock episodes. In Ultra Q, you get a weird rock and then a weird alien guy in a trench coat who a trucker says he wants to fuck. In Ultraman, you have a weird rock that then turns into a silly little monster that gets beat the fuck up by Ultraman, known villain and bully. And then in Ultraseven, a weird rock shows up, some maids talk about it, and then fucking Dan shows up and he goes, oh, I know exactly where this fucking thing is from. Oh, this ain't good. While an alien tries and fails to be a husband.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in Ultraseven compared to Ultraman.
Yes, there is. I don't know where they find more time compared to Ultraman, or I don't know precisely where Ultraman wastes time.
I assume it's in a lot of dogfights.
Yeah.
is the Ultra 7 fight just like much shorter?
Well, I mean, I think in this episode specifically, they aren't in like the planes as much.
You're right. We're not dealing with the preamble up to the fight. This is just solid. This is just like Ishiguro becoming a plant monster is just like some solid, like reminiscent of like either the best of Ultraman or like some like mid Ultra Q, which makes it good.
Mm-hmm.
The part where like he turns into a vine and it creeps out the window is pretty cool. Like the puppet there.
Yes.
I love him transforming with the like him trying to hide his hand on the train is so good.
Yeah, there's a good shot where
it's not train bus, but
she just innocuously turns to him and he's already transformed, and it's a good shot.
Yes. She's gonna feed him something or something like that.
Some fun stuff about like the suit of I think it's called the alien whale. I think is what it's called.
It's called the alien whale?
That's not a whale, that's a plant.
I'm trying to remember like the exact way it's spelled. Oh, it's a way. It's Waiell. So
Okay.
So weird. One, I think the big kaiju version has mirrors in it, which creates a weird effect, which is cool. They just embed mirrors in it, which is fucking weird, but kind of neat. Also, they cut the suit in half for real.
Yo.
Oh, nice.
Well, we know who's not coming back. Jesus Christ.
You're done, mate. You're done. That's a lot of money down the drain.
Yeah. It was also...
Don't make this show as expensive as Ultraman.
Yeah. Is neat. They also, like... There's a part of the end where, like, the real Ishiguro meets his wife, and his wife is rightly terrified at first.
Yes. It's like the ending of the Kemmer episode.
Mm-hmm. So this was directed by Samaji Nonagase, and then also this was spoiler alert. All three of these episodes that we were watching this week written by Tetsuo Kinjo.
Okay.
But so Nonagase, I feel like we brought this up last time. So again, as a recap, he wrote a shit ton for Ultra Q, like the Pegula episodes, the Balloonga, Garamon. Yeah, Fury of the South Sea, Garamon Strikes Back, Raygon, Idol of Goga. Like, you know, a lot of... I mean, Fury of the South Sea's in there, but, like, a lot of fucking all-timer Ultra Q episodes. Ultraman, a lot more hit or miss. He wrote the Raygon episode for that, which is, like, whatever. But then also, like, Barati and, like, the fucking... I think it was, like, the Alpinist episode. The only one in here that, like, I'm looking at that I feel like we really cared for is, like, the Dada episode, which even then we were kind of like... I mean, there was some cool stuff in there.
Can I just say, it's really funny that the episode where they lead a kaiju into the woods using, like, by dangling, like, a nuclear... material from a helicopter, we mostly refer to as the Alpinist episode.
I mean, honestly, you know,
it's really
like
funny.
Yeah, the only one that we really were super positive on was Brother from Another Planet, like the Zarab episode.
Oh yeah, that was a good episode. Incidentally, I feel like Ultra 7 as a show is kind of... The premise seems to be, what if the show was Zarab and Netflix episodes, but, like, you know, not just that, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, so I guess we can talk about it here too, but he directed this and the next episode, and it's just nice to see this guy make stuff that, like, is kind of, I'm more up on again, you know. This is definitely more his wheelhouse and stuff that he has done before, in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, obviously, he did fucking Garamon Strikes Back. This motherfucker has been the Strange Rock guy.
Hell yeah.
But it's just cool to see him back, because his Ultraman stuff was just not his greatest work, in my opinion.
Yeah, so since this is a new season, do I just, like, give a quick rundown for Hajime? Like, obviously, in some ways, Hajime speaks for himself.
We're already running so long
Okay, yeah.
today. I am already dying.
You know, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't want to rush us, but like I'm dying. Red's dying. Cloud.
Damn. It's all good. I honestly don't have anything else really to add to episode 2. It's just I was happy to see our friendly rock and plant monster combined into one episode that overall is just very solid. This is probably my favorite of the 3, I would say.
I'm not sure what my favorite of the 3 is at the moment, but, you know. They're all pretty good.
They are all pretty good.
So, yeah.
There's just, like, they're setting a baseline of quality that I think they can stick to through 50 episodes while reaching above it at times. I just like I quite like the dynamic between him and his wife in terms of just like there's just a certain level of just functional drama between just like characters that we're getting introduced to this episode and we will never see again that I think works. Do we have anything else about episode 2 of Ultraseven?
No.
Looking forward to the next Plants variation.
Yeah. Hopefully it comes in episode 4 of Ultraseven. Episode 3 of Ultraseven is called The Secret of the Lake. An unidentified object has landed somewhere near the Kiso Mountains. Dan and Furuhashi are sent to find any wreckage or signs of life. A young girl swimming in the lake rescues a fish from a fisherman, but it seems the fish might be an alien creature. Dan and Furuhashi chase her until they lose her, and then head to the landing site, where they find a spaceship. Both go aboard the craft, where they find the same girl again, but something's wrong. She managed to outrun them to this spaceship, and isn't even out of breath, and her shoes aren't muddy. Before Dan can figure out what this means, everyone on board is knocked out by gas that comes from the walls. When Dan comes to, he realizes the Ultra Eyes are missing. Without them, he can't turn into Ultraseven. Dan goes rogue to find his glasses, while Furuhashi reports back to base, taking the mysterious girl to the medbay for Anne to take care of. A giant monster named King emerges from the lake. Now, King, we haven't met before, but is a name I recognize, so I'm like, oh, this is a classic guy.
It is a classic guy.
Yeah, fantastic. Until he can find his specs, Dan summons a kaiju to keep King busy. 3 things are revealed. 1, there's 2 different girls who look alike. 2, they are in control of King. 3, they are actually bug aliens who came here in that spaceship.
Just a side note, they're called Alien Pit.
Alien Pit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just an aside, Ultra Series sure does like to just give alien races alien as a prefix.
Yes.
Nah, that's just the default.
X. It's just the genre.
We won't call them that every single time, just, you know.
Mm-hmm. The girl in the base attacks Anne and sabotages the Ultra Guard computer, while the girl who's still free cheers on King from the spaceship until Dan finds her and wrestles her for the Ultra Eyes she took from him. Once he has the Ultra Eyes, knocking her out in the process, he transforms and fights King for real.
This is the part where you forgot the actual kaiju fight.
I mentioned the kaiju fight. He summoned a kaiju to keep King busy.
Oh, I guess so.
I don't know which kaiju it is.
It's called Nicholas.
I like this one a lot. It has a funny little beard. It has cool like rainbow horns. I like it.
Some psychosm.
It's not like rainbow, but is it true? Yeah, it's a good design. There's a point where King is on top of him, and there's just a close-up on his face, the summoned monster's face, and it just looks like, oh fuck, I'm having a bad one, and it is a good moment.
I like King making liberal use of tail powers, which Ultraman would hate.
Where was I? Yes, he transforms and fights King for real. After King is killed, the two girls, reunited, decide to flee to space and prepare for another attack on Earth. This time, it will be bigger and better. Now that we have morally pre-absolved Ultraseven of any guilt, he gets to catch up with the spaceship and blow it up with a beam tech at the end.
Pops that motherfucker like a balloon, goddamn.
Yeah, it's good.
It's just the show just being like, and we're gonna do it again too. And Ultraseven be like, that's all I need. Bam, dead. King is cool. I like King.
King's very nice.
The
He's
tail,
a classic guy for a reason.
Yes, the attack where he wraps his tail around them and then just electrocutes them. That's pretty sick.
I think this episode was where I realized, I love that because Ultraman sometimes had kaiju on kaiju violence, and it was always cool when it happened. But giving him
there was vanilla.
That's true. That is true. They couldn't all. I was kind of whatever on Monster Anarchy Zone. The monster violence, that was a highlight.
Excuse you, you put Chandler as your third favorite kaiju.
Well, yes, but Chandler divorced from the episode.
Is Chandler divorced in Friends? I never watched Friends, but that would be a really funny joke if he was.
Fuck, where was I going?
Monster violence.
The fact that the capsule monsters gives him an excuse, or gives the people an excuse to just have like a little mini kaiju versus kaiju fight, in between like that and also the Thunderbird stuff and also Ultraseven, finishing the problem at the end, it adds a lot, I feel, and I'm excited to see both the other types of weird little creatures that he could summon from those capsules and what they all do with that. I do think it's very funny how, like a Pokemon trainer would, when the monster gets tired or is obviously defeated, he goes, "That's enough, come back."
Yeah, it's funny just how much Pokemon is clearly taken from this.
Yeah. Also, it's amazing how much was taken from this for the new Gohan's anime. The girl I like forgot her glasses.
Oh my fucking god. Oh Jesus Christ! That fucking long.
I forgot. What is this reference to?
This is a reference to the new one of the two new Gohan's anime.
No, I just meant what in this episode was.
Because he loses the Ultra. He loses his glasses.
He loses his glasses.
Lost my glasses. I don't know why. I think because of how this episode opens up, my first note in my notes is just the word ass.
What? Hang on.
I don't know what this could be referencing.
I think it's just because the episode opens up with a shot of like the captain's ass. While he's walking back to get hours.
I am pulling up episode 3 of Ultraseven right now. I'm scrolling through it. It does just open on ass. It does.
Oh, beautiful. But yeah, this was a Samaji no Nagase and a Tetsuo Kinjo again for the director-writer.
This was also the first episode in production order.
Strong first episode.
Okay. If it's only one pair of people, we can do like a quick summary of like what they've done, if we want.
Yeah, that would require me to pull open.
Oh, so sorry.
So some of these articles are very good about listing out the exact episode credits, and some of them are.
You know what? Never mind then. We'll stick to what I said originally.
Listen. They'll be back in future weeks.
Yeah.
You can just
go listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Razin can also just make the spreadsheet.
It'll happen.
Just some other interesting notes that I got out of this episode. Apparently, wise thing to do in your first production episode. Apparently, because of the fight in the lake, the Mikula's suit got permanently damaged with the water.
No.
So it got warped and discolored after.
Oh no.
Also, despite the fact that Eiji Soraya wasn't a big fan of like having blood shoot out of the kaiju. So the fact that this Ella King got blood splatter is kind of just an interesting thing. Like, oh, how'd I get by him? Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, this is the blood geyser cut thing that I was thinking of when we brought
it was like surprisingly bloody the way like Ella King just gets trisected and like blood just squirts out.
It's brutal.
It's wild. It's a lot of blood. Relative, like in terms of like, if I imagine I'm a normal sized person, that's a lot of blood. Because kaiju big.
Yeah.
It's a hazard. It was very funny. There's a very funny line when Dan's like figuring out that something's wrong here, where he's like, how did she get here on her girl legs before us?
Okay, in the Blu-ray sub, it was her legs are shorter. How did she get here with her shorter legs or something like that?
That makes more sense.
I think I feel like I have Blu-ray, but no. You know what? I believe that they're not completely updated subs because
they're the 0.8.
No, I've got the the
you didn't get the Realm Reborn subs.
No, I didn't get the Realm Reborn subs. God forbid I ever subscribe to Final Fantasy 14. It'll happen because I didn't like Final Fantasy 16. And for some weird reason, that has looped me into thinking that maybe I should try Final Fantasy 14.
I've been in a similar headspace. I need to play more 16 still, but
the award-winning expansion, Ultraseven Sword.
Yeah, I finished Final Fantasy 16, so I don't have to think about it anymore, which is good. I realized I've put us on a tangent now. Do we have anything more to say about episode 3 of Ultraseven?
I like this one a lot. It was fun. Ella King's cool.
Yeah,
I'm happy that he is apparently an iconic and well-known guy, because he's definitely a strong kaiju design, and I would not mind seeing more cool stuff with him.
There's definitely... The Ultra Series definitely has a good knack for, like... There's a kaiju, and he's a mascot now, for very good reasons.
Mm-hmm. I think just the patterning on him is cool.
Oh yeah, I like it. I was not like symmetrical or anything.
So. I like his weird ear things.
Now that you mention that Pokemon, now that I'm looking at this version of him where he looks quite yellow, I am just seeing Pikachu sort of vibes from like the brown and yellow lightning pattern.
See, Ella King makes me think of Electabuzz. I was thinking about Electabuzz a lot.
Well, I mean, that's because, Electabuzz's pre-evolution is Elekid.
Yes, that's true. And then it goes Elekid, Electabuzz, Ella King.
Actually, Selectivire, geez, haven't you played Diamond and Pearl?
That's actually when I stopped playing Pokemon as a kid. I saved up all my allowance to buy 4th gen of Pokemon, and then I was very disillusioned. I was like, this is the same fucking game 4th time in a row. What the fuck? Why am I buying these? And I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sick. Well, if we're done talking about Ultra... Oh, no. Okay. Oh!
So...
What do we have?
Yep, we don't have Color Timer, sadly. Toru Naruto smiling down from heaven as Ultraseven doesn't have Color Timer.
Yeah.
However, as we talked about, we got Ultraseven's jolly little friends.
Yeah. So what's the deal?
So I'm calling this section the Capsule Countdown.
The Capsule Countdown.
To see how long each of Ultraseven's little friends last before they job. And then we'll collectively
have a ranking by the end.
We'll see at the end who was the biggest jobber.
We'll make the tier list.
Sick.
This entire section is entirely premised on there being a decent number of kaiju and also them showing a number of times, so hopefully we don't get owned. Anyway, episode 1. Wyndham lasted 1 minute.
Damn.
Episode 2. Nicholas lasted 4 minutes, 25 seconds.
Let's go. That's my boy. I'm rooting for him.
All right. Sick.
Also, I do just want to note, we do have an email. Do you want to save it for next week, or is it okay now? How are you feeling? Up to you.
I'm dying.
Okay, yeah.
I have been sat in one place just talking to a microphone for so ages. I am dying.
Yeah,
Need to get up and about.
So, to you who sent the email, I saw it. We'll answer it next week. Hope you don't mind.
Well, 2 out of the 3 of us will answer it next week.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I will be in Canada and then on the West Coast for like a week and a half, which means I'm going to be missing some fucking Ultraseven episode recordings. So I am going to spend my night watching 6 episodes of the show and writing down little bullet points to be read by these two as they record the normal episodes. And then I will be back for our 4th Ultraseven batch of episodes, 9 through 12.
Yeah, sorry, Redman fans, we're not doing Royal Redman yet.
It'll come.
Who are the Redman fans? Show me them.
Listen, we put the Redman episode. We put the episodes on YouTube, and somehow the Redman episode has the most views.
What's happening?
The Redman fan base starving for content? They're like, finally.
You know what? Probably, honestly, they're not getting the Redman blazer. That's for sure.
Redman blazer. God. Alrighty. Well, in which case we can go straight into plugs then. So yeah, next week it'll be just Mel and I. But I think we'll coerce Razan into sending us some notes or something.
Yes, 100%.
So we'll have his thoughts and his projects.
I what I'm planning on is bullet points of my thoughts, and then I haven't looked at the production stuff, but if there's any new people or whatever, I will note that. And also, I think it's about time I get that fucking spreadsheet. I just need to organize all my fucking notepad notes into one place. So.
Just as a note, in our group spreadsheet, I did put a tab for you there because I'm like, well, we'll get to it eventually.
Oh, okay. So, I will.
So I thought I'd make it easier for you.
Yeah, that will. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Well, plugs then. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at ultra_Q on Twitter. That is at ultra_QUEUE. The episodes come out on Thursdays. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at gender_redacted. Mel.
Hi. You can follow me at Dear Crowns on Twitter. We have a bunch of stuff now. We have a Gmail, ultraqpod@gmail.com. We now started a YouTube page. Maybe you are listening to this podcast on the YouTube. The podcast is just called UltraQ. We also set up a coffee called UltraQ Fund, which is basically just if you want to do a tip jar and help with the media acquisition, subtitling, commissioning stuff, because money, that help in terms of filling out the shows that and for the podcasts that aren't available yet. And it's not like this isn't meant to be like a Patreon thing, so it's not the same as a monthly subscription. It's just like a tip jar. But I'll put the links to this stuff in the description. I may as well put our socials in the description of each episode from now going forward, just so there's okay, you can just go to each of this stuff.
Nice. And Razan.
You can find me on Twitter at Rasenbran. That's RASENBRAN, and then also YouTube at Rasenbran, which I'm hoping to put out some stuff before I go. And I probably am not going to be. I'm hanging out with my normal offline friend for most of that road trip, so I don't know how much recording and shit I'm going to be doing, but depending on how shit goes and what happens, maybe I'll throw together some stuff for that too. We'll see. But that's all on my end.
All right. Well, next week we'll be watching 3 more episodes of Ultraseven. There's 4, 5, 6. Join us then. In case you haven't been paying attention, we have we will also be watching Ultraman Blazer, because it's good. Shut up. We're not getting into discussions about watch order and purity and silence. We're just watching it.
Yeah. That'll also be next week.
Yeah.
Separately.
Separately. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Laters.
So,
hello and welcome to Ultra Q's Spoilercast for the 2022 to 2023 Gundam series, Birdie Wing Golf Story. I think it's pretty exciting that we have a Gundam show having two female leads in a romantic relationship to each other. I feel like in the second season, maybe they were spending too much time apart, but I think they could held it together in the end. What do you guys think?
Oh, damn.
I think I'm including this at the beginning of the episode. So, which from Mercury?
I'm sorry I stole your thunder.
It's they were in the same room like 3 times in the second season.
Yeah, that sure is true.
I would like other people to go first on which from Mercury.
I would like other people to go first.
Well, okay, I will.
Fuck you.
So
I gotta be honest. Just I spent the past week trying to coalesce my thoughts, and instead I got Blazer brain. So I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, it's
you
fine.
got blazed.
I've been stewing on this, and then I kind of feel like I said all I needed to say, and then I've just been like I've gotten some distance with it, which let these thoughts crystallize a little bit, which I'm happy with. Mel, you're gonna say something?
Oh,
I was gonna say. You want Red go?
Oh no, you go first.
I was gonna say. Yeah, it's all right.
I'm actually gonna start. I'm gonna start. And I'm wielding my tyrannical power once again. It's all right. It's pretty good, but it's I think the first season does a lot of setup, and then the second season does more setup instead of paying things off.
Yeah, I think I like the first season, even though it had its like faults. I think I liked the first half of season 2 a lot, and then I was a bit more down on like the last little bit of season 2. Like, not like that was bad, but just like I just wasn't as.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I was a bit let down. I said, yeah, it didn't do everything I wanted it to. I guess I didn't know what I didn't know what it wanted to. I guess it was just like I could have done more than it did.
Mm-hmm.
And now
I do think the ending is slightly unhinged to some degree in the ways, because I realize they are it is a show about kids at school, like they're all the heirs of like corporate like huge business people. But for so many characters, their happy ending is putting on a suit and going off to run companies with each other. And I was like, this is absolutely... I can't believe you did this.
It's weird when we get like the entire Earthian like episode, and like we get Noria and Sophie's point of view, and that's the resolution. I feel like I'm gonna have my thoughts coalesce as we have this discussion.
So
the most unhinged bit, I'll just get this one bit in, and then I'll stop. The most unhinged bit about the ending is the fucking... She just happily goes to prison because she thinks, yeah, sure, I deserve this.
Yeah, that's like the most
and just walks out
part of the show
with she's just got shorter hair now. That's the worst that happened. And all her friends are waiting for her, including the kid that snitched on her. And it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
they don't have to be friends.
I think like the thing that stuck out to me in like the ending was just like the one girl who was like, this doesn't solve any of the actual structural problems, right? And then they just leave it.
Yes.
See, that's the thing where like that line does a lot of heavy lifting for me, where I'm like, okay, the show knows.
Yeah.
That's
what I was thinking.
A non-solution.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. It's like it made the endings land better for me, knowing that there's at least one character who's like, hang on a second. You solved nothing.
It lands fine in terms of like the sort of like nothing has been solved sort of stuff, but I think character-wise, it's kind of weird. I think there are better things. Like I think the one that really stuck with me, and I was like, this is my favorite thing in the finale, is Elan 5 getting frustrated playing GeoGuessr with the sketches of some dead girl that he has put like too much importance on, and is just like they bring up the sketch and it's like, oh, this is kind of cute, and then it cuts to him eye twitching, just write down the name of the fucking place.
Yeah.
What a terrible boy. Love him.
Same.
I like how both living Ellens are terrible in different yet similar ways, and they're both entertaining, even though we barely get Ellen Zero.
Yes.
I love that he fucks off at the end and just gets a different job elsewhere. Most realistic corporate bullshit asshole man thing ever in this show. He's like, oh, we're losing, I'm quitting. Bye.
Yeah. I think Elan. It was weird how quickly Elan 5 became my favorite boy.
100% the same.
He had a fucking taser, and I was like, dude, that's fucked up. And then he became a funny guy.
He was like, it was like the creepiness thing where it's like, he has been like, he's looking at the situation. And he's like, oh, Elan 4 set me up with Suletta. Cheers. I'm just gonna like try to speed run this and get out as quick as possible, because he's just like I think the scene where he gets mad at the woman that's been like running the experiments, when she's like worrying about her soul, and he's like, but don't do this to me. What the fuck? was like the moment I was like, this kid's good. I like him.
I love how quickly he's just like, I don't want to deal with this facade shit. I'm just gonna fuck this. We got better things to be doing here. What's going on? I love how quickly he just becomes disillusioned with the whole fucking thing.
Him just having a gun in the finale is good. I like the horrors with guns too. I feel bad because we said Razin go first and then just absolutely interrupted him.
Razin, go first.
Okay. I feel like Witch from Mercury is a solid show that could have been maybe like top 10 Gundam for me if it was longer. It's not longer as stands now.
Yeah, I think that's like the thing. I think this plot, maybe not 50 episodes, but could have been like 36, and that would have helped a lot.
See, I genuinely think they could have gotten a full fucking 50 out of this. I'm not saying half was.
I'm not saying they couldn't have gotten 50 out of it, but I'm just saying you could have done it in 36 and it would have been improved even with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I was really hoping, up until right at the end, that we were setting the stage for a second half that was all about the more traditional Gundam stuff, that was the Earth versus the space, all of that stuff, and then what we ended up getting is all of that, which is what really was most interesting to me in this show, was all very long-winded setup for a few character moments that all kind of fall by the wayside, and then at the end of the show don't really get set up, and we get the hint that, oh, okay, nothing really changed for these people. Maybe it's going to go in a better direction, but it's still a precarious situation. And I feel in a weird place with that, because on one hand, that sucks for this show. On the other hand, realistically, what this show is, what all of these AUs are a way to get young people into Gundam, and people like me can then take someone who has finished this story and then be like, hey, did you like that shit? And then I can recommend 5 other things that maybe explore that with more detail.
Yes.
So like
Go ahead.
Like my one thing with this show really at the end of the day is that I think they fucked up by pacing the early part of the show as slowly as they do. If you go back and rewatch all that stuff, with the knowledge that this show is as short as it is, but like they had to have known what episode count they were working with. It is ridiculous how methodical they introduce everyone, and the ball, it takes a while for the ball to get rolling, and then by the time it gets rolling, it doesn't have far to go before we're doing climax stuff, and I just feel like there are too many characters that all get 1 or 2 cool things to do, but at the end of the day, I just don't feel like I lived with anyone long enough, and it's hard for me to care about a lot of these people in the way that I care about other Gundam casts for the shows I do like.
Now that you mention it, I definitely gave Season 1 a lot of rope when I was watching it, because I was like, sure, there's going to be 50 episodes, right? It's got to be.
I mean, we all thought that, I think.
That was like...
I
was accepting the pace it was going at because I was expecting a longer show, basically.
So from season 1, from what they did there, I was expecting much tighter scope in season 2 than what we got. I wasn't expecting it to go broad like that. I was expecting it to keep kind of referencing external stuff, but kind of really still focusing in on this central character stuff with Suletta and Miorine and the main boys and stuff, and you let them expand into other stuff as well. But it's kind of I don't think making this show longer would solve any problems, because I think the problem is that Okochi is like, oh, new idea. And that's his way of writing. I think he goes, oh, new idea. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait for you to explore that. So explore what? I've got a new idea. And I think we would have got another 26 episodes of new idea, and then have a weird kind of rushed wrap up at the end. But
I guess, to be fair, I haven't seen Code Geass, so I cannot comment on how long a 50 episode Code show is.
Why do they go to China? Why?
I have no context for this.
They go to China, and it's like, it's so stupid.
Oh, Tiger Ball.
Remember Rolo?
No. I don't remember as much of Code Geass as I should, but I remember Rolo. I remember there's a long stretch of just really boring shit in China, that's also very racist.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Lelouch is talking to the final antagonist and he goes, that guy we just defeated represented the past. You represent the present, but I represent the future.
Anime's so good. Anyway, the problem, yeah, my biggest problem with the show is just, I think the first season establishes that this is the show about Suletta and Miorine, and no, it's not anymore. We're expanding our horizons, and that means that they are going to share the screen like twice and have like two big conversations.
I think there's something to be said that sometimes like distance apart can help for character growth and moments, etc.
Sure,
but I think that does require time apart that is scaled proportionally well to the amount of episodes you have.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could argue, I think, well, you're definitely saying, and I'd probably be inclined to agree that maybe they should have had like at least 2 more episodes together, probably, than like literally the finale.
Yeah. There should have been. I don't know. It's just some decisions in terms of like character beats that take them apart in like interesting ways, but they don't, because the rest of the show is happening all at the same time as because there's like a million characters, because that's how Okochi do. There's a million different characters who are all like some level of important, and very little, like, I don't know, there's very little dwelling on anything.
There's no time for meditation in this show, and when I think about the character that, there is one character in the show that to me embodies my entire problem with like the missed potential of what this show could have done, and it's Nika, who gets to do like the one big thing, and then Choo Choo gets, well, I mean, a lot of people have very complicated feelings about that, including Nika herself, and then Choo Choo basically looks at her and goes, we're gonna have a long talk about this later, and then that just happens off screen later at some point. But that happens so many times with so many different ideas and characters in the show. The thing that blew my fucking mind watching this in the moment, where I was like, really? We're rushing past this, is Suletta explaining, like, yeah, I'm a clone child, and then Elon 5 goes, yeah, me too. And then they don't really explore that at all or really dwell on it. They're just like, yeah, that's what we are. Anyways, hey, it's time for the final battle. Let's get this shit done. And I'm just like, what?
much like the Zanskar Civil War, the heart-to-heart conversations are off-screen.
So, funny for me, though, I honestly was completely fine with the Suletta Miorine stuff. Like, I didn't have any issue with the distance there.
Yeah, I think I'm in the middle of it, you two, where I'm like, I think they could have spent more time together, but I still, I'm like pretty all right with how it ended.
I wish we, again, going back to season 1, I remember especially when they're introducing the boys, there's a large stretch there where Miorine just kind of feels off to the side, and I kind of wish they had put in the effort to maybe sprinkle in more just like general hangout stuff between her and Suletta. So that when you get to
it
the
is supposed to be the
later,
Gundam set at the school.
Yeah.
There is that amazing bit of Suletta and Miorine stuff where it's Suletta and Miorine apologizing to each other for how the end of season 1 of the first core went. And then that apology kind of like all that kind of healing all breaking apart the moment Suletta's like, no, I would literally kill anyone if my mom told me to. Yeah. That's an amazing scene, and like the whole, I just felt like that it kind of set up stakes that I would have liked to have seen continue through the show, of being like trying, like Miorine being like, I am going to save Suletta from her weird evil mom.
And also ends up teaming up with her mom, kind of.
Yeah. It gets mixed up in all that. I also I think if you're not going to explain what Quiet Zero is, I think there should be less. There should be fewer scenes where people go, "Tell me what is Quiet Zero," and then cut away. I think you should stop doing that if you're not going to explain it until the end.
Hey, can either of you break down for me what war partitioning entails?
No.
War partitioning is a real thing. It's not exclusive to Gundam. It's to do with borders. It's to do with I don't know very well. But it's I expect in the context of G-Witch it's something to do with I don't know. I don't know what the specifics are because I don't know what the specifics are on Earth.
I mean, I have some thoughts about what it could entail, and I know it's being used to undermine the Earthian class, but it would sure help if I understood the main motivation for Shaduk as a character.
Yeah,
to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, I feel like Shaduk was fumbled a bit.
One of my favorite parts of the show is that when they ask, so why did you orchestrate a terrorist attack on a school? And he gives his reasoning, and I'm like, that is classic Gundam character reasoning right there. And then he just kind of becomes the fall guy, and none of his stuff really gets goes anywhere.
So my issue with the ending is stuff like Nika and Shaduk, whereas like Shaduk, where it's like Miorine sets up, she solves everything, but obviously she doesn't, and it's like the ending's like, well, she hasn't solved anything, but also Shaduk sat there like, damn, I could never compete with her. What the fuck are you should be like, you should be the one saying, this solves nothing. And Nika being like, I'm coming out of prison and seeing all my friends. There's the snitch. I like him again. I deserved this. Insane.
I think Shaduk should, and you know what? I think Akuchi can learn from Gen Urobuchi here. I think Shaduk should read Fanon. Probably.
We could all learn from Gen Urobuchi.
Also, I don't fucking get it. What the fuck did Miorine even do at the end? I actually didn't understand this at all. I felt like
she bought up, she redistributed a bunch of the assets from the Spacian companies back to Earth, but then someone pointed out because of how the economic structure that we live within, they're just gonna lose all that eventually anyways, and the Spacian populace will just buy it all back up, and like this is a temporary band-aid on like the whole system is broken. This does not resolve any of that.
Like, unequal exchange in real life.
I really thought Shaduk was gonna be, up until like the final like batch where it's like, oh, okay, maybe this is it. I really thought that Prospera getting onboarded to the team and like the messiness that entails was going to be set up for part 2, where because Miorine and him, they have that scene where they're like setting up like a deal or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And we learn later what that is, but at first I thought that was going to be he gets out of jail free and then he gets up to some Dawn of Fold bullshit, and that would segue into season 2, and then I also thought that like the way things were going with the Pale Company or whatever, they were also going to be antagonists in season 2 as this kind of like corporate coup everything. But then that gets resolved when Miorine waves her financial wand, I guess. Also, it's probably safe and good form to not go too in depth into spoilers of other Gundam shows, but it is interesting just like watching this show and like alongside it, I was listening to podcasts by Ghost Divers on the AU that directly preceded it and just like thinking, oh, okay, there's definitely stuff in G-Wish that like has me thinking about IBO a lot. They're 100% in conversation with like a lot of like the Alea Vignana stuff and the gun stuff.
Yeah, but even beyond that, I was also just thinking that like there's definitely similarities between like McGillis and Shadik in terms of their motivations and, well, maybe not necessarily motivations, but like also like how they plan to go about their plan. If that makes
Even
sense.
background wise.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Where they come from.
Yeah, it's like there's definitely a lot of similarities between like McGillis and Shadik, but I also feel like McGillis was more fully realized.
Yeah, I feel like Shadik should be the standable antagonist, but there's not enough there, unfortunately.
Yeah. He gets like 5 cool lines.
Like,
yeah.
Shadik is like different from McGillis because McGillis is more of like the I'm gonna reform it from the inside, whereas Shadik is like I'm gonna break it from the inside, but they're still both like using the tools of the system of oppression to try and change the system of oppression, which is like not it's not gonna go well, you know. And then just it is worth mentioning as well, I guess, spoilers for like the ending of IBO. You can like do something to signal this to the audience in the recording.
I don't know how. Also, I don't remember much of IBO.
Oh, I was just gonna say like, I guess we can cut this in if whatever. We'll figure it out in post. Just like, it is cool that this is like a show where it ends with 2 leading female characters getting married. It is also cool that is the second show to do this.
Yes,
in Gundam.
Yeah.
It's a thing that it's a thing that I've wanted to like kind of tweet because I see all these tweets about people like, oh man, it's so groundbreaking that Jewish is doing this. And I feel like, on one hand, it is true that it is like a big deal that Jewish did it, and I don't want to take it away for it, especially because it does matter to people. A lot of people connect to this season. And also the fact that it did do it twice is cool, but I also do want to give a shout out to like, oh yeah, IPO did this. It is worth acknowledging that this is the second time they did it, and both should be celebrated, not to like tear down Jewish doing it,
I got another frustration with G-Witch to vent.
Okay, go.
Why did they do unicorn again? Why'd they do unicorn laser blocking? What are you doing?
I guess that's fair. I did like to have they had the Cyber Ghost
like,
Parade.
I would describe G-Witch as one of the most inventive Gundam AUs.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of Gundam AUs where it's just, hey, remember UC? And those are definitely the weakest ones, I think.
And that's, well, yes and no.
X being an exception.
Yeah, because there's like it doesn't correlate to quality. I don't think, because Gundam X is literally just it's the AU in the truest sense. It's just like, oh, what if X?
But I think there's something to be said about like there's Gundam AUs which I think try and be like, oh, this is Gundam by like doing the familiar UC shaped things, but not really getting the themes. And then there's other Gundams which are doing something more bold and different, like IBO, that more understand the themes of Tomino stuff.
But like the thing I'm getting at is just like G-Witch I would describe as one of the most inventive AUs. Like it's like the stuff that it is working with is very like it's like the whole school thing, the whole like it's riffing on just different things a lot of the time.
The Armored Core corporate setup.
Yes, the Armored Core corporate setup.
I do think space feudalism is pretty good as a setting.
Yeah.
I also think it.
But the fact that despite that inventiveness, they then just go colony laser at the end. It's just like, why? You have so much already right here. Why you don't need?
Yeah, Quiet Zero is interesting as a super weapon, and then they did another colony laser, which is like, okay, fine, whatever. I
do. So I think Quiet Zero could be implemented better because it's mostly what it does at the end is it does drones. It gives us enemies you don't have to feel bad about killing.
Mobile dolls.
Yeah, mobile dolls.
Trays would hate this.
Trays would hate Quiet Zero.
Absolutely.
Speaking of trays, tangentially, it does feel like a bit of a waste to have like Delling just be like in a coma for most of season 2 and just be like, he could have, maybe it would have been more impactful if he just killed him off instead of just be like, he just comes back for the finale and says a speech or something. I don't know.
If Suletta had killed that guy and Delling had still died anyway, I think that would be an interesting complication to the
I also
filmings.
think, like, maybe... how do you guys feel about the fact that, like, Prospera is just like, your dad just killed my entire family, like, 20 years ago, right? And Miore is just, like, fucked up by that, but I feel like they don't really... It's like a reveal dropped to the... It's, like, not a reveal, but, like, it's a thing dropped at the end of an episode to, like, be like, oh, man, tune in next week, and they don't really follow up with that. Like, I don't feel like Miore really, like, thinks about it much.
Everyone in G-Witch is saying something very confidently, and then someone else says something calm back, and then they go, "Oh no, my worldview has been shattered," because Prospera was like said something cool.
I mean, it is. I do like looping back around a bit to like Yorne's apology to Suletta. I think it is kind of cool that like earlier on in season 2, she is kind of like, yeah, thinking about it a bit and being like separate from Suletta. I do get, you're the problem actually, and
Mm-hmm.
but like otherwise there is definitely like.
I do also just like what it does for Suletta's character, where like she is someone so fucking dependent on everyone around her, and then right at the end she's like, she's not left alone, like she has people around her, and that's like an important part of it too, but like she comes to her own, like, oh, okay, no, I need to be my own actor here and like force like the change I want to see too.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes her decision to get into the fucking Gundam, the actual Witch Gundam, Calibarn, I think it's called.
So is it called Caliban in the katakana, or is it just Caliban?
I think it's Calibarn, which is, I have seen people say maybe a play on both Caliban, but then also the sword, like Excalibur is sometimes known as Calibar, or something like that.
I do think it is very sick to have like the former protagonist Gundam will be like a semi-final boss, and then the protagonist gets a different Gundam.
Same.
And also
like
that
a lot.
Also just the Ariel gets destroyed in the second last episode. Fucking last shooting up here.
Mm-hmm.
Lauda getting in the third Gundam is pretty dumb.
Is the Schwartz set the most overbooked overbuild Gundam that doesn't end up mattering ever that we've ever had?
Fuck his Lauda. I know he's his brother, but like I felt, I don't know.
That was the only part of the show I thought felt contrived.
He's just like,
dude.
I'm really against Miorine specifically. I think because it was so contrived, I did enjoy when like Guel does his stupid sacrifice because he can't get through to him, and then like Lauda is like shaken out of it, and then immediately after the one girl just like fucking goops him, and he's just like, are you fucking stupid? Why are you fucking dying over this? Just fucking talk to each other, idiots. I think it's like, that was pretty good.
I will say it. Guel, fantastic character. I really enjoy the ride he goes on. It kind of ending there, I was a little bit bummed by. It's just like, I feel like he could have.
Yeah, they could. I think they could.
More interesting could have happened here.
But he's definitely like a standout part of the show. No, the show in episode 1 was definitely setting up to be like Utena, obviously, and Guel reminds me a lot of like Sionji from that show for reasons that are obvious if you've seen Utena. Except he's like, what if I actually grew and changed into the person? So that's cool.
How'd you feel about the fact that they had to do a little fencing duel as a callback to OG Gundam?
I mean, I don't really care. They're a weird dueling place. Of course, they do fencing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It did feel a bit like contrived a bit, where it's just like, well, I need to give you a reason to be the holder again.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny that he volunteered for the duel and then didn't just like voluntarily lose. I was fully expecting him to just let her just like hit him once.
Same.
and just walk off. The fact that he actually fought, I was like, wait, what? Okay.
Maybe he just had to know if Sloan meant it. Something like that.
I'm saving the most important details to the end. It seems 2023, Street Fighter hit, and Sunrise knew what the people wanted. So they made Gundam for feet freaks.
You've been so on this, and it does make me.
It's just right. I realize at this point I'm reaching levels of joked too many times about a fetish. But
listen, I'm just saying, it's giving you harder plausible deniability for if you do become a jury main.
This is fine. People can think whatever they want of me. The point is, bro, they were getting some absolute madman, dragging him out of the basement, letting him out of his cage, and just said, we need you to draw anime girl feet.
To be devil's advocate here, I don't think they need to go as far as to get someone out of the basement. Have you seen how many people are in the jury feet community in Street Fighter 6?
This is true. I'm just saying. There's a lot of the Miorine and what's a face who just sits down all the time. I remember someone posting online about how, what's her name? Cecilia Dote. They were doing like the soldier protecting the baby meme or whatever. It's like Cecilia Dote protecting Siletta and Mio from horny fan artists. And I was like, you haven't seen the are you just not noticing the scenes where it's just like really weird focusing in on Mio feet flexing?
I feel so innocent because, like, aside from the toenail painting scene, I did not notice this at all.
For me, there was just like for me.
Oh no!
For me, I thought it was like mostly fine enough, but there was just like one shot in like the episode where Suletta reunites the Mio, where it's just like, yep, that's the one people are talking about.
This is like when I watched the first episode of Nanoha and noticed that there were weird vibes between the brother and sister, and then later found out it was based on a visual novel where you play as the brother and the sister is one of the romance options. And I was like, there are some vibes here. I was like, I'm picking up on something. I don't, I just have a sicker radar.
What do you think about the tomato genetic code password?
The fuck is I had forgotten about the genetic code password.
Honestly, that was maybe the moment that felt the most Code Geass to me, and I kind of liked it.
I thought I was like, you know what? Fine. It seems fine.
I liked it as characterization for her mom in a way.
I like stupid shit sometimes.
Which
it's stupid, but it's like, I don't know. I do think it's weird that the relationship between her and her mum comes up like so late in the game. I'm like, okay. And suddenly this is an important factor.
Jewish fans and Big O fans fighting over the meaning of tomatoes.
Yeah. Damn. Well, do we have anything more on G-Witch?
I'd say it's solid. I feel like as I come more at peace with, this is just the show that we got and not what it maybe could have been in the early stages when anything was possible. Like, yeah, it's fine. I feel like this is a very easily recommendable Gundam to people too, which is just like, this is just a show for normal people in a way a lot of the Gundams we like aren't.
I'm out here. I'm recommending Victory to every normal person I meet.
Victory is the show most like a Shrike.
Oh God. I like X and why is my brain frying? Aibo more.
Yeah.
Deep down in my nostalgia child heart, I like G more, but like my mind, this is probably the third best AU we've gotten IMO.
Yeah. In my mind, I
love Setsuna too much.
Yeah. For me,
see, that's my thing. Is there's so much of 00 I would like to put up there, but then like it's not enough for me. But I like 00 quite a bit.
In my heart, have been ranking 00 in my like top 3 for like years, and so I'm wondering how that's going to be when we revisit later this year. But anyway, I do think it's a pretty good like easy recommendation to someone if you're just like, well, this is a good way to get into Gundam. I mean, it did pop off for a reason. It did bring people into the fan base, and then we Trojan horse them with Tomino Sekka Women.
I will say, so like much in the way that G-Witch definitely took some inspiration from Aibo, I would love to see the corporate angle play around, because I actually feel like there's a lot that we could have done with that we don't necessarily got done here, that maybe we could lean in on next round whenever they do this in like 3 or 4 more years or whenever the fuck. Who knows anymore? There'll probably be like 8 build shows between now and then.
Yeah. I'm debating like where I'd rank this one. I'd probably put it in B tier, which is about where I'd put G for myself, because I like G well enough, but it's not like a favorite or anything. To be honest, I'd probably also put SD Gundam Force in B tier, but yeah, pretty alright show. There's definitely weaker Gundam AUs, even if you just like completely pretend that the really awful stuff does not exist.
Yeah, the thing about Gundam is having a favorite Gundam and having a least favorite Gundam. You have to ignore 2 big series. You kind of have to ignore Turn A, and you kind of have to ignore Seed, because it's like, of course that's your favorite. Of course that's not your favorite. Of course that's your least favorite. Barring those ones, what's your fave? What's your least fave? That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
It's Victory.
Minus X, probably.
I'm still a Zeta stan. That show, the way that Zeta fundamentally broke my brain at the time I encountered it in my life, cannot be understated.
Honestly, I feel like the more I think about IBO, especially in like Ghost Divers podcast definitely help with this, the more I like it's climbing the ranks, and I do feel like maybe it's gonna just like body check 00 at some point. Just be like, oh, sorry.
Can I say that actually? I should. I've made this point so many other places. I feel like I just kind of forgot to make it here. When I was going through G-Witch, I was like, this is so close to Iron-Blooded Orphans, but handling so many things like with so much more care that I was like, oh god, like I fucking love Iron-Blooded Orphans. That can be a hard show to like tell people to watch, because like there's undeniably some shit in there that gets fucking weird or
it's also
doesn't land right.
It's messy for sure. There's some stuff that might alienate some people.
Yes, and I was like, G-Witch seems so much better in that regard, and just digging into the shit about Aibo I liked a lot. Like maybe this can be the thing that I recommend, to be like, hey, also if you want some more like this, you can check out Aibo. And like as it wrapped up, I'm just like, Aibo just swung for the fucking fences in ways that G-Witch can never quite like mimic. And
yeah.
I just ended up liking Aibo more for taking those swings, even though it stumbled.
Also, IBO knows how the state works.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? Honestly, apparently a high bar for a lot of AUs in Gundam, which is upsetting, but I
mean, I'm not unconvinced G-Witch doesn't know. It's just, it doesn't care to
I think
be the focus.
I think if we got like a follow-up season that showed the consequences of the way this wrapped up, we might be able to have a more firm line on whether G-Witch understands what the state is.
I don't think we would. I'm going to say I think it would wind up going in new weird directions.
I feel like there was a bit in the middle where I thought, basically with the Dawn of Fold stuff, where I thought maybe it did. It had like its finger on the pulse a bit, and I think the one character's throwaway line shows there's something there, but also Okuchi just maybe care about other things more than like how the way Mecha and the Gundam represent state power against the oppressed kind of thing.
Yeah, I gotta say, it was very inspired for them to, one, get the Armored Core 4th gen artist, and then also, two, have those mechs just basically... There's an episode of the show that is just an Iron-Blooded Orphans episode. It is so fucking funny. Like, all of that Dawn of Fold shit with just, like, the extended action sequence with Guel just having the worst day of his life.
Yeah, I think that's
incredible.
If you like that stuff with Dawn of Fold and the Guel episode specifically, then IVO is a pretty easy recommend, I think.
Yeah. Remember when they brought up that Dawn of Fold was getting funded by Peel, and then they just kind of didn't...
I don't remember
Never
that
came
at
up
all.
Were they funded by Pale?
Or not, maybe not Peel. They got funded.
I thought they got getting funded by like Shadiq.
Shadiq, yes. Wait, no, fuck. I thought there was something about one of those corporations. Was it Ox Earth that was defunct but technically not defunct, and then giving them shit? That was it.
Fuck, I don't know.
Which is
was that the one? Was that the one? Was that where like
it was all Shadiq though? At the end of the day,
you know what Shadiq could have used?
What?
Some kind of like Gundam that was a symbol of the institutions, and he would take it, and then he'd win.
Yep. You pull Excalibur out of the stone, and now you're king.
That's how it works.
Fixed everything.
I like Choo Choo.
Choo Choo good. That punch is
one
of the best things that's ever happened. As far as I'm concerned, like the character she punched, dead.
True.
I just remembered the classroom stuff that was in season 1 that just didn't become a thing in season 2. It feels like a millennia ago.
Yes, alright, I found the answer. So, Oxearth was believed to have been defunded, but then they were actually still being funded in secret by the Space Assembly League, who was then giving their shit to...
Alright.
Yeah.
I am going to make an executive decision here. We're done talking about G-Witch. We
I think
have
that's
done
fair.
45 minutes. We gotta fucking talk about Ultraseven.
True.
Yeah. The orders people listen to this to will be reversed, but you know.
Yeah, we're time traveling. Shut up. Listener, we're time traveling. That's who I said shut up to. I didn't mean that to sound like I was telling you to shut up. By the time you're hearing this, you will have already heard us talk about Ultraseven. Who knows? Maybe we liked it. Maybe we thought it was the worst thing in the world. Maybe I think Hyatt is a scrub, and Maraboshi Dan is my guy. All right.
Amaro.
Yeah, Amaro. See ya.
So let
See you later.
One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Attack the homicide fighter 7. Ultra 7. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, Let's go. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. Ride the ice like a hero. 7. True to love.